Hey y'all, it's Tim. We got Brian here. Guess what? We got another Thursday 10 at 10 for you for October 5th of 2023.
Man, we do so many of these 10 at 10s, it feels like they're coming like every single day. I don't know how we keep up with it, but we do every week. Right now we're going 2 days a week. This is the Thursday, October 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy, man. We've been bringing the heat on these 10 at 10s.
Shout out to Corbin Wildcat. He's the man behind the camera right now. It's his birthday, October 5th. Make sure you tell him happy birthday in the comments.
Happy birthday, homie.
So y'all, we're so excited. We got an amazing set of 10 trees we're going to be talking about that are being listed today on MrMaple.com that you can purchase at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's 10 more that are in the weekly email. Check out your email for the other 10.
Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel because we're putting out a lot of killer content right now.
What about Buckholz Week?
I mean, Buckholz
Hashtag Buckholz Week.
Woo. I mean, we're bringing the heat when it comes to garden tours, bringing you guys some exciting plants, huge mature specimens of cultivars that you just never really get a chance to see. So we're excited to be bringing that.
We're calling it Buckholz Week. It's like 2.5 weeks worth of material. We're on the end of the second week, and
yeah,
y'all, it's awesome. If you missed it, some of the videos, go back and check them out. But guys, today is the 10 at 10, so let's go ahead and get on started about some of the trees for today.
Where do you want to start, Tim?
Let's start down here with these flavescens.
Sounds great, man. So, all right, man, this gives you a really nice green lace leaf out there in the garden. Such a classic Japanese maple. You know, you see these in so many different landscapes, and it just really brings you that Japanese maple feel out there in the garden.
And flavescens goes to a clear yellow in the fall. You may get some oranges late. These are grafted right around 20 inches. So they're high grafts that then cascade down from there. You see they're nicely staked up. Gives you a nice tree, a nice sized specimen. And these things got some good motors behind them as well. So they're gonna make a good tree out there in the landscape fairly quickly for you. Y'all, flavescens, don't sleep on it. It's an awesome plant.
Definitely, man. Pair this with like a Tamukiyama that gets that bold red in the fall, and with the yellow on this, definitely dynamic. All right, next up on the block here, we got Acer Pomade and Beni Shishihingi.
Y'all, Beni Shishihingi is an amazing plant. It's actually the logo for MrMaple.com. So it's the actual dot in our logo. It is pretty awesome. It's my mom's favorite plant. That's one of the reasons why Mr. Maple is an ode to my dad, what they called him. The Beni Shishihingi is an ode to my mom, her favorite Japanese maple. Gives you a nice pink orange in the spring, bordered, and it fades to a cream. Then this plant here goes to a really nice shades of oranges to reds in the fall. I mean, amazing plant. I knew you were growing this out in Oklahoma.
Yeah, very, very heat tolerant for me also. This is one that really gets out there fairly quickly. I mean, you can see these are some nice 1 gallon sizes on these. And just that pink and white variegation on that really makes it pop. I mean, everything else out in the garden might just be kind of this green color, but you gotta get this electric pink and white on this. Definitely makes it stand out.
Now, this is a style, if you do see any solid green branches on your tree, reduce that fertilizer. It may be caused by getting too much fertilizer. Prune those branches out. This one can revert. And so make sure you prune that out if you do see any solid green branching.
Beautiful, beautiful plant.
So
all right, Tim, what we got next?
Next up, we got Mikado. It's Buckholz Week. We can't do a Buckholz Week without at least talking about a Buckholz plant. In fact, I can't think we can do a 10 at 10 without talking about a Buckholz plant.
He's got so many plants, it's like, it's hard not to be talking about a Buckholz plant. He's got so many. I've been reading his blogs here lately. He's been really breaking down all the cultivars that he introduced over the years. Really exciting. If you haven't got a chance, go check that out. The Flora Wonder blog is amazing. Really fun content. But this right here is that red sheer solemnum, something you don't really see a whole lot of. I mean, there's starting to be more and more cultivars of it, but I love the red sheer solemnum.
And this one kind of has that Matsumuri kind of sheer solemnum style leaf. I mean, it's divided back. It's I guess the closest leaf to it would be something like a Bronze Age.
Yeah.
But it's actually more red, so it's a good pairing with something like a Bronze Age or a Moonrise. And it's a one that you don't see that often available in the nursery trade.
Definitely one that wasn't real familiar with on this cultivar, but after reading and some of the information that Talon Buckholz has put out on it, definitely one. I mean, you know, if he puts a name on it, it's definitely one you want in your collection for sure. All right, next one right here, another great classic. We got Tsukasa Silhouette.
Tsukasa Mikasa. This Tsukasa needs to be going to your Tsukasa. This tree is a narrow growing Japanese maple. It's green, it's upright, it's vigorous, it has fantastic fall color, and it fits in small spaces because of that narrow columnar habit.
This thing definitely gets out there pretty quick too. As you can see, again, we've got some killer 1 gallon sizes on these. Just the other day I was driving down Maple Street and saw a beautiful, nice specimen of Tsukasa silhouette out there, just in the blazing heat. I mean, nobody watering it. This thing's just a champ. I mean, you can put this just about anywhere. It's going to tolerate the sun. It's going to give you a really nice flagpole out there in your landscape. Beautiful, beautiful cultivar.
Well, Matt and I visited Japan and visited Yutaka Tanaka, who introduced this selection. They were actually using the street trees out there because it's so durable. One of the things I will say, this plant stays more narrow in sunlight versus shade. If you grow it in more shade, you may get a little more side branches reaching out for the sunlight. Better to grow this tree in full sun if you want to have this narrow habit. Tsukasa silhouette, amazing hardy tree, good fall color, and fits in small spaces. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, the red fall color on this thing is outstanding. All right, next up we got...
Guys, we got Macaw Lollipops coming back to Mr. Maple.
I love the lollipops, man. I mean, just the concept of this is really cool. I think Alan Castile had some of these put in pots. It really looks cool in a pot out in the garden or up on your porch or your back porch. Just an interesting way to grow Macaw Yatsubusa. I love the tightly layered leaves on this, and adding it up on kind of a standard or high graft really does make it look interesting.
And these specific lollipops we're listing today, they're about 18 to 20 inches. I mean, sometimes we've offered them about 10 inches before. These are about 18 to 20 inches on a Macaw lollipop. That just gives it a little bit extra height before it really starts that tightly layering habit. Gives sometimes a little more vigorous tree as well. Sometimes this motor, since it has such a big trunk that grows thicker quicker, will actually push this tree a little faster. So you may see sometimes that a high grafted tree on a dwarf may actually push it to grow a little bit quicker as well.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind, I know sometimes when we say lollipop, some people are thinking of just this perfectly round globe on top. That's not the case. You can prune it to keep it that more rounded shape to it, but it's just meaning that we have these up on a high standard on this graft, and so it definitely gives it kind of an upward appearance out there, gives it a nice trunk before it starts that multi-branching, because you know macaws are always very multi-branched. So you get this nice straight trunk, and then you get the branching up top.
Macaw is one of my favorite trees. I mean, you can get this tree and have it in your garden as a low graft, as a high graft. It's a completely different looking tree. You can grow this tree in a container. I mean, heck, you can probably even grow this thing upside down. It's gonna look awesome in your garden. Macaw Yatsubusa, mostly everybody's favorite Japanese maple. It's durable, it's easy to grow, gives you some green color, some great red fall color, and it just looks like a fluffy little animal out there in the landscape with that tightly layering habit. It's definitely a tree you need to have in your garden.
Yes, lollipop, Macaw, pretty cool. All right, Tim, here we got a nice one here. We got Monticello Gardens.
Y'all, Monticello Gardens, this is a selection by a guy named Richard from Columbia, South Carolina. And Richard had Monticello Nursery. And he found this as a chance seedling growing, and he grew it down there in Columbia, South Carolina. And if you know anything about Columbia, South Carolina, it is hot. Well, he selected this because this tree did well for him down there in the heat. Brought us a copy and said, guys, you need to graft this and get this in production. We did. And we introduced it as part of our Area 51 collection. It's got a leaf shape that's almost like an orangeola leaf.
Right.
It's got a color that it can hold almost like an Opshidario Tamukiyama, but it cascades and handles holds its color fairly well in higher heat setting.
Yeah, as you can see here, these are a little bit greened out right now, but these been in the greenhouses. But I have one planted in my garden in full sun here in 6B, and this thing is beautiful, bright red color right now. Even late in the summer, has not greened up at all. Probably one out of all the lace leaves that I have, one that's holding that color the best.
Love this plant. It's one you should definitely try out in your garden. We've got a couple of them at Maplewood Gardens. Brian's got one. I mean, this is a cool plant, and it has a unique growth habit. I mean,
yeah,
it kind of goes up and arches downward. It's not your typical just lace leaf. That this one often will get some more curves to it, which gives a real interesting structure to this tree.
Even at a young age, you know, in the 1 gallon, still got a great structure on that, so you can see it, anticipate what this is going to look like as it starts to mature out. Got some big ones in here. All right, we've got Acer Pomade Winter Orange.
And guys, we've got some XL sizes on these things. I mean, you look at these trees.
Yeah.
They're big plants. Winter Orange is a coral bark selection of a Japanese maple that instead of having that coral color, during the winter months has a bright, bright orange. I mean, we list this tree at zone 6 through 9. The rumor is that this tree came from Canada from an extremely cold zone 4B. I've never trialed it in a zone 5. I've never trialed it in a zone 4B, but it makes you wonder, like, is this a coral bark selection that could actually handle a much colder selection, or was it greenhouse grown in a zone 4B?
Right.
I couldn't tell you, but the bark on this tree goes to one of the brightest oranges of any of the Japanese maples, and the bark is outstanding.
I mean, it really does give you a vibrant orange color, probably one of the truest like orange bark Japanese maples out here. This is such a great cultivar. I grew this in Oklahoma, and then when I moved out here to North Carolina, I was like, I like that one so much, I got to get it again. So I've got one here in my North Carolina garden, and it grew really well for me in Oklahoma, and it was very hot there. I had it in full sun, always had that really strong display of that orange bark. And then the one I have here also in full sun, doing very well in my garden. So I can tell you right now, this is a very, very hardy plant. And I love the coral barks. And I think the winter orange kind of gives you something a little different than like a Sengokaku.
Let's talk about a quadfecta here.
Yeah.
You could plant a winter orange
Boom.
next to a Sengokaku.
Bam.
That gives you some coral. All right, then plant that next to an aoyagi.
I mean,
Then plant that next to a bihu.
Whew.
You got a quadfecta of trees that look similar during the spring and summer,
Yep.
have some similar fall colors, but in the winter months, you've got yellow, green, orange, and coral red on the bark.
Definitely something that I'd love to see.
That's a quadfecta right there.
I'd love to see that planted out in landscape, especially in those winter months, just displaying all those amazing colors. I mean, it's crazy that you can get that many different colors, especially on the bark on a Japanese maple. You know, they're always known for their foliage and all the different colors they go through, but bark, to have that much variety, it's pretty crazy. You got to get a winter orange.
The winter interest quadfecta. You got to have a winter orange for that.
All right, this is a killer cultivar right here. What do we got, Tim?
Guys, next up we've got Acer Pomade Lillians Jewel. One of the flashiest Japanese maples. I'm pretty sure this was on Logan's top 5 flashy Japanese maples. If it's not, it should have been, because this tree really brings it. It's got red and pink variegation with some white across it. And it's got a Matsumuri style foliage.
I mean, let's just pencil it in on everybody's top 5. Let's just pencil it in somewhere in there. It should be in that category because it is electric, man. The variegation on this thing is very, very strong. Very consistent too. One of the most consistent variegated plants out there in Japanese maples. I've always had very strong variegation. I've grown this plant twice, one in Oklahoma and one now. When we got some 10 gallons, I had to get one because, man, it had this beautiful display of pink highlights all over it. And I just fell in love all over again. This cultivar is always performing.
It's such a good name that people keep trying to rename this tree. They call it Little Annie's Jewel. It's Lillian. That's Del Locke's granddaughter. Jonathan Savlich, it's his daughter. That's where it got the name of Lillian's Jewel. Jonathan Savlich found this tree. We actually got the tree from him, and early on, we started grafting it. I mean, we had trays of this thing around the greenhouses. We had 2 or 3 trays. We'd list one on eBay. And we were just listing plants on eBay back then, just trying to figure out how to move plants. And there were liners.
Right.
We're talking like a liner pot that's, 2 inches wide, 5 inches deep.
Right.
And they were going for like $300 a piece.
Insane.
And we weren't trying to list them at that. We were listing them at like $8.
Right.
At the time, we're just like trying to figure out how to move trees.
People getting a bidding war. Yeah. Everybody had to have it.
I'm talking like, we're talking 2 trays moving at like $300 a piece.
That's crazy.
That's one of the things that started to grow the nursery here, was moving Lillian's Jewel early on. But
yeah, I can definitely see why. I mean, this thing is always a top performer. One thing I really like about this is you can play around with the colors on this a little bit too. If you put it out in more sun, you get those more hot pinks and reds. You put it in a little more deeper shade, you can get these nice white, pink, and green tones on that. So it's really interesting, always contrasting within itself.
And in Europe, they started recalling this tree Extravaganza.
Because it's pretty
It's a party. It brings a party to the garden. So take this tree, put it in your garden. It's going to be a party. And you're going to love it because this tree just keeps on putting color all throughout the season.
Get you a Lillian's Jewel. All right, Tim. We got another one here. What do we got?
Guys, the crazy thing about this one is I don't know that much about this plant. This plant is Ginkgo biloba, unnamed Stupka broom. Now, Joe Stupka is this famous nurseryman from the Northeast, and he found lots of witches' brooms, introduced a lot of cool plants. I mean, I never met the guy, but Rich at Foxwillow Farms, who recently retired, he had a video on his website all about Joe Stupka, like basically a documentary. And I watched that thing and I was like, man, this is the coolest thing ever. I've got Stupka's broom, Ginkgo biloba. This is an unnamed broom from Joe Stupka. It's got broom tubes, it's got thread leaves.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is a rare grafted ginkgo. We're expecting this to be a tree that's going to get 4 to 5 feet tall, 4 to 5 foot wide in 10 years. But this is brand new to us.
I mean, yeah, we don't know a whole lot about this plant, but one thing that we know for sure consistently is that ginkgos always give you that blazing yellow fall color, and that just helps everything else in your garden stand out. That classic yellow fall color is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, ginkgos are known for having some of the best fall color of any plant. When it's fall, we often say it's ginkgo season because it just lights up in the fall. They're very consistent. They're salt tolerant, drought tolerant, heat tolerant, pollution tolerant, cold tolerant, so they can go, up in high heat settings, and then they can go all the way down to extremely cold zones. So I mean, I think they're like zone 3.
Right.
So ginkgos can grow in a lot of places all around the United States, and their yellow fall color complement Japanese maple so well. Get this rare ginkgo today.
Definitely. All right, last but not least, I don't know if you guys think this is a dream or what, but this is Acer Pomade Orange Dream.
You're going to be dreaming all night if you don't get this plant, because this plant gives you some of that great yellow color in the landscape. I mean, this tree, if you give it just a little bit of sunlight and then some afternoon shade, you're going to get some bleached out effects on this tree that are unlike any other Japanese maple, and it's going to be one of the brighter yellows you can add in your garden.
Definitely one you want to play around with that sun ratio on that. I always experimented with this cultivar because I really liked how I could get that really bleached out white yellow color on that. So I had mine in like the perfect setting of morning sun, just at about afternoon, and then it would get shade the rest of the day. Just at the point where it's just about to burn and you get that nice bleach color on it. I mean, it really, really does stand out. I had this paired with a couple other things. I had a dragon tears near it and a ryusin. So I had some really nice color combinations going on there. So that really bleached yellow was standing out.
Now, this is an introduction by Ghirardelli Nursery, and we did a whole Saturday showcase on Ghirardelli selections. They've introduced great things from Summer Gold, Jordan, to Fire Glow. I mean, so many classics, Stella Rosa, so many classic Japanese maples, and Orange Dream is one of their more popular selections. I mean, it's hard to say more popular than Fire Glow, but it's one of the most popular selections of Japanese maples that's out there. I mean, it's an amazing plant. Again, like we said, give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun, but if you can push that sunlight just a little bit, the yellow color it's going to add to the garden, man.
That's pretty awesome.
Pair this with your Lillians Jewel for that party.
There you go.
Add some more colors to that party.
Man, this has been a killer lineup. What do you think, Tim? This has been some amazing plants today. I think people are going to be excited about this. I know you guys are always ready for 10 and 10. Seems like everybody that I know is like tuning in, ready to figure out what's on the thumbnail and like what's on the video, like trying to figure it all out so they can be the first ones to get in there and order it. I love all the enthusiasm you guys have.
Now remember, many of these trees will sell out fast. Make sure to check out fast today, because many of your items, they don't hold it to, all on our website, the way our website works is it doesn't hold it for you until you complete that checkout process. Once you complete that checkout process and you've got an order number, then you've got a tree with your name on it. So remember, check out fast today on MrMaple.com.
I know a lot of times you guys are like, man, Brian's probably got all the first picks. Well, I have most of these already, so there's plenty for all of you guys. I won't be picking up one of these today, so that means that you guys have an extra one on the list that you can get out there and grab on that 10 at 10.
And don't worry, because Brian doesn't know the other 10 trees that are not.
I don't know the other 10.
He doesn't know the other 10 until they come out on the email. So
awesome, man.
So y'all, hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Remember, #BuckHoltzWeek. Check out all the videos this week. And if you missed last Tuesday's 10 at 10, go check that one out as well.
Like, subscribe, all that amazing stuff. We appreciate all of you guys' support. It's amazing how many people tune into the Mr. Maple Show. We're like over 20,000 subscribers now, and just cruising through that.
And thanks to international viewers.
Absolutely.
My goodness. I mean,
Absolutely.
the international viewers out there that can't even get trees from us, that just watch it to enjoy and learn about the plants, thank y'all so much too.
Take care.
God bless.
Have a great day.